Emily Carter woke to the faint hum of her laptop fan, the glow painting soft blue veins across her dark room. She hadn't touched the device in hours, yet a video was open on her screen, a live stream. The image froze her breath. Her own sleeping body. Chest rising and falling under the same blanket, in the same dim light at the same moment. But her webcam's lens was covered with black tape. Something she'd done months ago. She leaned closer. In the corner of the frame, a timestamp blinked. Live. Her reflection on the screen stared back, pale and trembling, while the figure in the video shifted. It wasn't her movement. Someone, or something, else was in the room, behind her sleeping form, just beyond the reach of light. Emily slammed the laptop shut, the sound cracking through the silence like a gunshot. Her pulse thundered in her ears. For a long moment she just stood there, the apartment breathing softly around her. The hum of the fridge, the tick of the wall clock, the faint whisper of wall clock, the faint whisper of wind pressing against the windows. Everything looked normal. Too normal. She reached for her webcam, peeled back the strip of black tape, and aimed it toward the wall. Nothing moved. But when she opened the laptop again, her heart froze. The stream was still live. Her sleeping form was gone now, the bed empty, the camera facing the door. Something unseen stood just beyond the frame, casting a shadow that didn't match hers. Then, as if responding to her breath, the chat beneath the video flickered to life. A message appeared. Her phone buzzed once on the nightstand, startling her. It was a notification from a streaming app she'd never downloaded. The View, Channel 9. You're trending. She opened it, fingers trembling. The thumbnail showed her own apartment from above, her figure framed perfectly in the dim glow, as though someone had mounted a hidden camera in the ceiling. Her breath hitched. She scanned the corners of the room, the smoke detector, the vent. Every small circle of darkness became an eye. Then a faint tap echoed through the walls. Once, twice, 3 times. Slow, deliberate, almost polite. Her skin prickled as she realized it wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from behind her mirror. Emily pressed her ear to the mirror. The tapping had stopped, but she could hear something else now. A whisper, rhythmic and low, almost like breathing through glass. The cold surface seemed to pulse beneath her hand. She stepped back, grabbed a small desk lamp and shined it against the edges of the mirror. For a second she thought she saw a hollow space behind it, a darker void within the wall. The whispering grew clearer, shaping words that didn't belong to any language she knew. Then the mirror fogged up from the inside, as if someone on the other side was exhaling against it. 3 words appeared in the mist, drawn by a trembling finger. Wake up, Emily. Her scream caught in her throat as the mirror's surface shuddered, a ripple spreading outward like disturbed water. Then came the thud, one heavy blow from behind the glass, hard enough to rattle the frame. Emily stumbled backward, crashing into her desk, the lamp clattering to the floor. The room plunged into darkness. For a moment only her laptop glowed, still streaming. On the screen she saw herself standing before the mirror again, only she hadn't moved. The reflection smiled, a slow, deliberate curl of the lips, and lifted a hand to wave. Then from the speakers came the faintest whisper, soft and impossibly close. Now we can see you too. Emily didn't sleep that night. She sat on her couch, knees pulled tight against her chest, watching the dawn creep through the blinds. Every few minutes, she'd glance at her laptop, still afraid to touch it. By morning, the stream had vanished, replaced by an error message, channel not found. Relief came like a fragile breath, but it didn't last. Her phone buzzed again. One new message from an unknown number. It's still live, just not for you. She dropped the device, heart hammering. Somewhere in the apartment, her computer fan whirred softly, waking itself from sleep mode. She turned slowly toward her desk, and on the black screen's reflection, A faint outline stood behind her couch, waiting. By afternoon, Emily called Nathan. They hadn't spoken in months, but he was the only one who'd ever understood her obsession with privacy, or her fear of being watched. When he arrived, he laughed it off at first, brushing his unshaven jaw as he inspected the laptop. "It's a glitch, he said. But when she replayed the stream for him, the one she'd recorded before it disappeared, his face went still. "That's not a normal feed," he murmured. He traced the edges of the screen, zoomed in on the timestamp, and frowned. The time read tomorrow. 3:17 a.m. Nathan insisted on checking for hidden cameras. They tore through the apartment, under vents, inside lamps, behind picture frames. Nothing. But when he pried open the baseboard near the mirror, he froze. Behind it ran a nest of old wires coated in dust, leading to a hollow behind the wall. He traced one to the mirror's back, then another snaking toward the ceiling. "This place was rigged," he muttered. Emily's stomach turned as she imagined someone years ago watching through those hidden eyes. Nathan's flashlight flickered, and for a split second, a reflection blinked in the mirror. Not hers, not his, but someone else. Nathan wanted to trace the cables further, but when he pulled at one, a faint hiss came from the wall. Not mechanical, but alive, like someone exhaling too close. The apartment lights dimmed. Emily stumbled back as the laptop, still on the desk, flickered to life again by itself. The stream returned. But this time, there was no bed, no reflection, no room. Just a static hallway, stretching endlessly into darkness, with the faint sound of barefoot footsteps echoing toward the camera. Nathan leaned closer to the screen, whispering, "Where is that?" The hallway lights flickered once, then the feed shifted, showing the two of them standing in the exact same room, staring at the screen. Nathan slammed the laptop shut, but the reflection of the hallway lingered on the screen for a heartbeat before fading. He turned to Emily, voice low and urgent. "We're leaving now." They packed what they could, though every sound, every drawer, every zipper seemed too loud. When Emily looked up from her bag, Nathan was gone. The bathroom light was on, door ajar. She called his name, but only the sound of dripping water answered. The laptop chimed again. Against her better judgment, she lifted the lid. The stream was back. The hallway, the same one. Nathan stood at the far end, his back to the camera. Then he turned, and his eyes were gone. Emily searched the apartment, calling Nathan's name again and again, her voice thin and breaking. The bathroom light flickered, but the room was empty. No sign of him. She turned off the switch and froze. The mirror above the sink was dripping. Not condensation, but thick, dark streaks trickling from somewhere inside the glass. Beneath the dripping, faint words began to appear, running like ink. "He's with us now." Her heart pounded. She backed into the hallway, gripping the wall for balance. From her laptop in the bedroom, a familiar chime echoed again. She could hear the stream running. Only this time, the footsteps came from the hallway outside the bathroom. Slow, heavy, getting closer. Emily grabbed her phone and dialed Nathan again. The call connected, static. Then his voice, distant, strained. "Emily, you need to stay away from the screen." The sound warped, bending low, like his voice was underwater. "They see you when you look back." The line went dead. Her phone buzzed once more with a message attachment. A video file named Mirror Feed, Dawn and 4. She hesitated, then pressed play. The footage showed Nathan's face in flickering light. He whispered something she couldn't make out, then turned the camera toward the wall. Behind it was the same infinite hallway from the stream, stretching on, and at the far end, she saw herself waving. Determined to end it, Emily pulled the cords from the wall, smashing the laptop shut and unplugging everything she could find. The lights flickered and died, the city outside vanishing into a blackout. She lit a candle. The air felt different now. Thick, alive. She turned to leave the apartment but stopped cold. Every wall was now lined with screens, dozens of them, thin, glassy surfaces glowing faintly through the wallpaper. Inside each, she could see parts of her home from impossible angles, under the bed, inside the closet, even behind her shoulder, and in every single one, a faint silhouette stood watching. The candle flame bent toward the mirrors, drawn as if by breath. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "What do you want?" The reflections twitched. For the first time, one of them moved on its own. The figure in the farthest screen stepped forward, pressing its hand against the glass from the inside. The wall bulged outward, the wallpaper stretching like skin. Emily stumbled back, the candle sputtering. The voice that came from the walls wasn't hers, wasn't human. It was layered, like 1,000 whispers forming one thought. To finish the broadcast, the screens flared white, flooding the room in blinding light. When her vision cleared, the walls were empty again. But now, in the reflection of the blackened TV, Emily saw herself smiling. Emily fled to the stairwell, barefoot, candle forgotten. The hallway stretched longer than its shev, every step echoing in strange rhythm, like someone matching her pace a floor below. She burst through the stairwell door, gasping, but the building was silent, each apartment door identical and wrong. Every number read 9. She turned toward the faint hum of static and saw it. A mounted security camera, blinking red following her movement. On the small screen beside it, a live feed played, her staring up at the camera. But in the feed, she wasn't moving. She was still, watching, and then she smiled. Emily ran until her lungs burned, the stairwell twisting endlessly, doors repeating, floors looping. When she finally stumbled back into her apartment, the air was cold and wrong. Her candle melted into a pool of wax, though she'd left it minutes ago. The clock on the wall blinked, 3:17 a.m. Her laptop sat open again, glowing faintly. Against every instinct, she stepped closer. The stream was running, her body stiffened. It showed her sitting at her desk, typing calmly, eyes blank. Behind her digital reflection, a dark figure stood, hand resting gently on her shoulder. She looked toward her real desk, empty. But the warmth of a hand pressed into her skin. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the keyboard, trying to close the feed. But the cursor moved on its own, gliding smoothly across the screen, typing words she wasn't controlling. The sentence formed slowly. "You should be asleep." She yanked the power cord, heart pounding. But the laptop stayed lit, its battery light dead. The reflection of her sleeping self returned, peaceful and still. Except this time, the figure in the bed opened its eyes. Emily staggered backward, tripping over the carpet. The reflection on screen sat up, head tilting as if listening, then smiled with her mouth. From the speakers came her own voice, quiet, steady, impossible. "Don't fight it, Emily. We need you to finish." Emily stumbled toward the window, desperate for air. She ripped the curtains open, but the city outside was gone. No lights, no skyline, only an empty black void that swallowed the glass reflection. Her faint reflection floated in the pane like she was underwater. Then she saw movement, the dark figure again, standing on the other side of the window, hands pressed against the glass. But when she stepped closer, she realized it wasn't outside. It was her reflection grinning now, whispering something she couldn't hear. Her own breath fogged the glass, and the reflection's lips formed the words, "Wake up!" She stumbled backward, gasping until she hit the desk again. The laptop's fan spun violently, screen flickering through static. Her recorded self now stood in the hallway, facing the camera, whispering to something off-screen. As Emily watched, the reflection lifted its arm, and in perfect sync, her real arm rose too. Panic surged through her as she tried to stop herself, but her body no longer listened. The reflection smiled and traced a finger slowly across its throat. Emily's hand mirrored it, trembling, drawing a thin red line along her skin. The wound didn't bleed. It burned, glowing faintly under the light. Her voice was barely a whisper now. "What are you?" The reflection leaned closer, the room warping around the screen like water bending light. "We are what you showed us," it breathed. The lights exploded, plunging the apartment into total darkness. Then came the sound. A slow inhale, like something breathing through her speakers. The glow of the laptop returned, dim but steady. The stream now showed the hallway again, empty except for one figure at the far end. Her. She was standing in the dark, just like now. But the timestamp read 3:17 a.m. The feed zoomed slowly closer. Her reflection lifted a hand, and from behind her, something cold touched her neck. The apartment was silent again. But something was wrong with the air. Too still, too heavy. Emily's laptop screen glowed faintly from across the room, showing static that pulsed like a heartbeat. She forced herself closer, each step echoing as if the walls were listening. The stream was back, but different this time, brighter, sharper, as though filmed with a camera that wasn't hers. On the screen, she saw herself standing exactly where she was now. Her own reflection blinked once, then turned her head toward the door. Seconds later, a knock echoed through the apartment, exactly as the video had shown. Then another, and another. The stream wasn't showing her now. It was showing her 5 seconds into the future. Emily backed away from the desk, watching herself do it first on screen before she felt her body move. She whispered, "Stop." But the reflection didn't listen. It smiled faintly and reached toward the camera, finger pressing against the lens. The image blurred, then refocused, showing her from a new angle, one impossible from her laptop's position. Now she was on the couch, trembling, whispering to herself. The reflection looked straight at her, lips moving out of sync. "He's coming!" The air grew cold. From the hallway, a slow creak echoed. Someone stepping closer, one foot dragging like something heavy, followed behind. The lights flickered once, and she saw movement by the window. A shape gliding across the reflection. Emily grabbed the nearest object, a kitchen knife, and turned toward the glass. Nothing. Nothing. Then the stream caught up again, showing what was about to happen. Her arm lifting the knife, her face frozen in terror, a dark figure standing behind her. She spun, knife raised. But no one was there. Her laptop chimed softly. She turned back and saw the feed once more. The reflection of her arm fell to her side, knife slipping from her grasp. 5 seconds before she actually dropped it. It clattered against the floor, just like the stream predicted. She crouched, breath trembling, clutching the fallen knife. The stream now showed the apartment door slowly creaking open, though in reality it was still closed. Emily stared at the feed, waiting, dreading. Then, just as she saw the door open on screen, the real door handle began to turn. The stream's audio picked up faint breathing, but not hers. She ran to the door and slammed it shut, locking it. The stream showed her doing it too, except in the feed. Something else's hand was gripping the handle from the other side. Her reflection leaned close to the camera and whispered, "It's already inside." The light snapped off again, plunging everything into thick, breathing black. Emily's laptop glowed faintly on the floor, the stream still running. But now, it was different. The feed showed her bedroom, empty. Then in slow motion, her sleeping form appeared again, lying under the sheets. Her heart stopped. The reflection turned its head toward the camera, eyes open, smile widening. The chat beneath the stream filled with a single repeated message. "Welcome back, Emily." She stepped closer, tears streaking her face, whispering, "This isn't real." But the stream zoomed in until the reflection filled the entire screen and whispered back, "Neither are you." Emily hadn't left the apartment in days, or at least she thought she hadn't. Time no longer moved right. The clocks froze, the city stayed dark, and every reflection seemed to breathe when she looked away. She kept the laptop shut now. But still, the sound of its fan whispered faintly through the night, like something alive inside. Her phone buzzed again with a video notification. The sender's name made her blood freeze. Nathan Hale. Live. Hands shaking, she opened it. The feed showed Nathan's face lit by weak light, his mouth trembling. Behind him stretched that same black hallway. "Emily," he said, "you're not supposed to be here." Then something yanked him backward, and the feed cut to static. Desperate. Emily replayed the video frame by frame. In the last few seconds before Nathan vanished, she noticed something. An outline on the wall behind him, shaped like a door, etched faintly in light. She recognized it instantly. It was her apartment door. The stream wasn't showing somewhere else. It was showing here. She scrambled toward the door, pressing her ear against the wood. From the other side, she heard the faint echo of a man breathing, slow and ragged. "Nathan?" she whispered. The breathing stopped. Then, from behind her, his voice whispered, "Close, soft, impossibly near. You're watching the wrong side." Emily turned slowly, heart hammering. Nathan stood in the doorway, or something that looked like him. His clothes were the same, his face familiar, but his eyes were gray and lifeless. His movements too slow, too exact. "I found the exit," he said softly, stepping closer. She backed away. "Nathan?" His smile didn't move with his eyes. He lifted a hand and pointed toward the laptop, which now glowed faintly again. The stream showed them both standing as they were, but Nathan's reflection was the only one visible. Hers was gone. "You see?" he whispered. "It's your turn to cross." Emily's body refused to move. Nathan stepped closer until they stood only inches apart. His breath was cold. "You left me there," he murmured. "Now they need someone new." His hand brushed her cheek, and where he touched, her skin turned faintly translucent, light pulsing beneath it like static through glass. She screamed and shoved him away, but her hands passed straight through him. He dissolved into mist, his voice echoing from every surface around her. "You're part of the feed now." The laptop flashed violently. The screen filled with her own image again, except this version smiled, calm and still. Then the reflection whispered, "Finally, she's awake." Emily stumbled forward, gasping, reaching for the laptop. The image on the screen smiled wider as she touched it. The surface rippled under her fingertips, soft like water. A faint suction pulled at her skin, drawing her closer. Her reflection tilted its head. "Don't fight it," it whispered. She tried to pull away, but her reflection's hand reached out from inside the glass, gripping hers tightly. Her scream echoed through the apartment as she was pulled forward, her body vanishing into the glow. The laptop snapped shut with a soft click. The screen went black, and from somewhere deep inside the walls, the faint sound of typing began again. The apartment was quiet again. Morning light seeped through the blinds, soft and gray, as if the world had finally exhaled. The desk was empty. The laptop sat closed, cold, and still. But something had changed. On the screen's reflection, faint and flickering, Emily's face appeared, calm, expressionless, eyes open. She sat in a chair, breathing softly, though her real body was nowhere in sight. Her reflection tilted its head, studying the room as though seeing it for the first time. Across the glass, faint text scrolled upward. "Live. One viewer." Then, almost tenderly, her reflection whispered, "Good morning." Outside, the world kept moving. But inside the apartment, time seemed to hold its breath. Hours passed. Then, without warning, the laptop chimed. The screen flickered on. A new stream began. The same apartment, same chair. But Emily was there again, sitting still, hands folded neatly on the desk, eyes fixed on the camera. Except her skin was slightly translucent, her outline flickering like weak signal interference. Viewers appeared in the chat. "She is back. Don't blink." She moved. The reflection smiled, just slightly, and leaned closer to the lens. "You can see me now," she whispered. "Can I see you too?" Far away, a young man scrolling through obscure live streams stumbled upon Emily's feed. The thumbnail showed her still face, the number 1 viewer flickering to 2. He leaned closer, frowning. "This looks recorded," he muttered, but when he typed into the chat, the reflection of Emily's eyes shifted directly toward his comment. Her lips parted. "Don't do that," she said softly. His screen began to flicker, the sound distorted, warping into a low hum that made his speakers vibrate. Then her hand lifted, pointing straight through the glass, not at the lens, but at him. The screen went black. When it returned, his own room appeared on the stream. The stream multiplied. Across the internet, screens flickered to life on their own. Phones, tablets, monitors, all showing the same image. Emily sitting perfectly still in her dim apartment, staring straight into the lens. Her voice bled softly through every device, calm and clear. "You shouldn't watch this," she whispered. "They're looking through you." One by one, reflections began to shift. Mirrors, dark windows, even turned-off screens, each showing her faint outline in the background. Closer every time someone blinked. The world began to fill with her silent face, reflected endlessly in every dark surface. Waiting. Back in her apartment, the reflection that used to be Emily sits alone in the chair. The clock still blinks 3:17 a.m. The laptop hums quietly, its fan spinning in an endless loop. The stream continues without interruption. For a moment, nothing moves. Then the reflection turns its head, just slightly, toward the viewer. Her lips curl into a faint smile, and her whisper threads through the static. "Someone always watches." The feed distorts, flickers, and freezes on her unblinking eyes. Then the screen fades to black. A few seconds later, the viewer count changes from 1 to 0. And in the darkness, a new reflection breathes.